Good evening, guys, and happy Friday to all of your sunshiny faces. Bravo's up here with me today, just apparently licking himself because Charlie's running around on the floor, freaking out because there's a fly that I think just flew past my face. There's a fly that got in because it takes forever to try and get Bliss out the door to go to the bathroom. So like normally I'll be like, come on Bliss, and like the puppies will be running outside, and half the time or inside, because normally I take them out separately now because for some reason she doesn't like to go to the bathroom at the same time as the puppies. So we take them out first, then we take her out, but then it takes her forever to get out the door. So normally I'll be like, come on Bliss, and then the puppies come inside, and then by the time Bliss gets out there, the puppies have tried to run back outside, and sometimes I only get one of them in at a time, so I'm trying to like coax one of them in and trying to coax her outside. So today though, it looks like a fly ended up sneaking in while the dog was taking forever to get outside, and it somehow ended up getting stuck now in my room, and Charlie is having a huge issue over this, and he just keeps running around, and I don't know if the fly is making him nervous or if he's just really upset because he wants to catch it. He actually was barking at it earlier. So like I said, I don't know. I don't know if it's stressing him out or if he just really is hunt instinct and he needs to catch the fly, or if he's just very because he keeps going after it every single time it comes past him, he jumps to try and catch it, but at the same time too, he's acting really weird, he's nervous. So I don't know what I said the behavior really that he's displaying is, other than that he just keeps running and jumping around and the fly, but then the fly just stays wherever it is for a while, and then he forgets about it, and all of a sudden starts flying around again, and then he's all freaking out again. So anyways, guys, yeah, that's why only Bravo's a nice, calm, and not, going to freak out over a fly, and he's just gonna slay here and be so sweet, isn't you, Mr. B? Yeah, you're just going to do that. Great, now I've shown him attention, and he's just going to keep wanting more, and this whole rest of the time that I'm recording, I'm going to have to pet him or risk being scratched over and over again. Thank goodness, guys, it's so funny that they all have their own little personalities. Anywho, okay, can you just sit back so that I can record this, please? If I switch hands, he might actually ignore me because this hand is the one that's free, and he realizes I can't pet him with the other hand, and so he'll just leave me alone, which thankfully he did. Anyways, guys, yes, we had Jack's football game today. I actually didn't end up editing today, I think. I did upload, but I didn't end up editing, so possibly if I have time tomorrow I can always do that. The other thing too, guys, is that I always forget, I'm whenever we're watching a football game or something like that, honestly, the halftime, the amount of time halftime takes is how long it could take me to edit a vlog. So all I need to do is just grab my computer, hop in the living room, even if I catch the end of the first half of the game and still the beginning of the second half of the game, within editing time, I still I'm hardly missing any of the game, but I just wind up I never end up doing that. I used to always edit whenever I was watching sports stuff. I only do that when I'm in my bedroom now though, because honestly I don't like annoying people though, having my computer out and I have to have the sound up obviously when I'm editing, and so I don't like to annoy people with that, so I try to Charlie is now trying to hide under the blankets on the side of the bed. My goodness, that's where I'm trying to tell you guys, I can't tell if he's scared of the fly, trying to hunt the fly, if it's making him nervous, or too, if he's like I said, that hunter, he's trying to hide so that he can jump out and grab it, which is what Bliss does too. Flies don't make her nervous though, or she acts like Charlie's acting, but I think that she taught him how to behave like this, or at least oh, flies are something that we're supposed to chase, go after, or whatever. But I've told you guys how she locks herself in my bedroom sometimes. If there's a fly flying around and she knows that it's in here, she will come in here and actually lay behind the door so that she closes the door so that she can go after whatever the flying insect is. So anyways, I forgot what I was saying earlier. Oh, I can probably edit hopefully maybe during the football games or something like that tomorrow, and or on Sunday as well, because we got college football tomorrow. But I will have Valley Produce and Caputo's, and possibly I think Walgreens as as well haul for you guys tomorrow. But we did have Jack's football game today. Honestly, not much going on. I didn't actually know how good this school was. So Matthew, I think, played them, and like I think my dad was saying too, there was one year, I think the 2020, well, it was supposed to be the 2020 season, which was the spring of 2021 season. That year there was 2 teams, I think, that we didn't end up playing that year because we had a shortened season, and that was one of the teams that we ended up playing tonight. Then I think, and that was, I think, the year we were supposed to play at their home field. The other 2 years we played them at our away, or like at our home field. So like I said, today we are away. I don't think we've actually ever gone to the stadium. I do remember vividly being at Matthew. They hosted a volleyball tournament. I remember going there on like a Saturday. I think that's when they had the volleyball tournaments for Matthew. Like I think it was his senior year. And so like I said, I remember that because one of the kids that was on his team, he also played football with, and he was actually from that area originally, and that's where he like played youth football or something like that. And so but like my dad was talking like, oh, like, you know, I think that they were just like gonna start like in our conference maybe or something like that. I don't remember, because I don't think that Matthew ever ended up playing them, and if he did, I feel like it was only ever at home because I never remember playing there for any away games. So if Matthew ever did, it was only home games. But like I said, I do remember now there must have been 2 years at least where we did wind up, again, Jack's freshman year and then last year, where we did play them at home. But I don't really, like, again, because we also have never played them away, they're not a team that I entirely remember really well either. And so I didn't really know how good they were. But apparently they did actually have one really, really stud, I think it was offensive lineman, or maybe it was the defensive, no, I think it was defensive lineman. He was actually out, my dad said, and so they didn't end up actually having him in the game. But other than that, my dad was like, they have this one really, really good kid that was playing, and then he's like, after that, like, you know, like after their line, I think he was saying like on both sides of the ball, all of their other like skill positions almost aren't really good, but their line, like, you know, offensive and defensively was really good. At least that was sort of what my dad was saying. So my dad was just saying like, you know, if we can sort of shore up, you know, like those positions, we might be able to, you know, sort of do something against this team. But I'm sort of remembering it though, like when Jack was, like I said, those other 2 years where we did play them, I do feel like they were actually one of those very good football teams. But it's funny though, because when we played them in youth football, they were not very good, but then like their high school is really good. All right guys, so guys, this is what's happening right now. I just had to stop because Bravo's trying to figure out where Charlie is, and Charlie went in underneath here and is hiding under the covers, and Bravo is super concerned about what exactly is moving, or how do we get Charlie out of here. Where did Chatty go? Did he go under this way? I think Chatty went under this way. You have to go through this way. There's Chatty. We find him. Bravo was very concerned, almost to the same extent that Charlie is over this fly. Now Bravo's trying to figure out how to get underneath here. He's like the little brother, that's why he cracks me up. It's like monkey see, monkey do. So like Charlie was under there and, you know, he's hiding out, whatever, and then Bravo's like, oh, okay, and then he goes under there just to like find out what was so interesting about being under there. Anyways, guys, so it's so weird though, because like Charlie still, he's trying to chase the fly, but then all of a sudden he goes and hides. Like, I don't know, like I said, if that's like a hunting instinct or if he's scared of the fly, as to why, like I said, he's hiding under the blankets right now. So anyways, back to the football thing. Forgot exactly what I was saying because I got distracted by these two. But like I said, I think that this team was normally always pretty good, but I just, you know, there's like a couple teams that I'm always like, those ones are normally at least we're kind of competitive with. There's other teams that sometimes we wind up completely getting blown out of, like blown out of the games. And so, like I said, I didn't really know what to expect with this one. It's funny though, because last week I actually thought we probably should have competed a lot better than we did. And the funny thing is against the first team that we played in the season, I would say was probably the most difficult team that we probably faced. But we actually looked pretty good. Like, defensively, weren't too bad. We were able to stop them on several drives, all that kind of stuff. And then on offense, we were actually able to move the football against them, although we never scored any points. Last week, we literally couldn't move the football. Defense ended up, again, I feel like the real reason why defense didn't play so well last week against, again, I think so far the worst of the three teams that we've seen, I think was because the, you know, the offense was like 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out almost every single time. And so it didn't give the defensive players enough time to really rest. And so I felt like that was a big portion of why the defense didn't do so well last week, and the offense actually, again, just didn't do well. This week, I think the defense ended up giving up a touchdown every drive. I don't think that it wasn't actually that bad of a blowout. I think the first game was worse. I think under 2 minutes in the game, which at that point was a running clock, when you're getting blown out by that much, it's just the clock runs. But I believe that within the last 2 minutes, we did end up scoring. So it was 6. We didn't get completely shut out. I think it was 6-42, I think was the final. So like I said, I think once you're over 40 points or 35 or something like that, or maybe even 30 points, and it might also depend on the margin of points as well. Like, you know, if it's just like 40-42, like they're not going to have the clock keep running, but if you're getting blown out by whatever the number of points is, I think that's why they just run the clock. And the funny thing is though, is that the Frostoff team, both the first game and then last week's game, both did not do very well. This week they actually really did well. I think the final was like 30-17 or something like that, or no, maybe it was 28-17 or something like that. I honestly think my dad said they lost by like, I don't know, something close to 2 touchdowns. I don't entirely know the whole extra points, all that kind of stuff, what they ended up getting. I don't even know how likely it is that they got some of those numbers that I said. You know, the combination in football of, you know, did they get 6, 7? Did they get, you know, 8 points? Did they get a safety at any time? Did they get, you know, 3 points on a field goal? I feel like football is one of those insanely weird sports. Like, I was watching the US Open because of the men's and having a US player in the men's, I think, semifinals or whatever it was, which was such a good match. Because honestly, I started recording it when we left about right before 6 o'clock, I think, and I was like, okay, like, and I think it was supposed to start at 6 o'clock. I think the match didn't end up ending until after we got home from the football game. I think they said it lasted like 4 hours or something like that, but it was a crazy good game. Unfortunately, not the outcome, you know, that we wanted, but like the points in tennis is the thing that I am like, okay, like I just don't get, why do you get 15 and then you get 15 and then you get 10, and then also too, like why it goes up to 7. And I understand a good portion of, like, you know, again, how the whole scoring system and points and all that kind of stuff works, and then too, like tie breaks and stuff like that. But like, I just don't understand also too, it's like if you win the first 2, is it sets, that, or is it games? I don't know. If you win the first 2, you just win the whole thing. But if you win the first one and then you win the second one or whatever, or you know, also too, I think my dad was like, oh, it's like sometimes by point margin or something like that. I think, I don't entirely know. I know that you have to win, like you could win by 6, like in a set or whatever it is. I don't know. Anyways, it's a little confusing. Like, I know because it's similar a little bit to volleyball too, like when Matthew played, but it was always like, it wouldn't go up by like, you know, 15, 30, and then win by like a certain, you know, like you couldn't just win by one. I think you always had to win by two, which is sort of similar to tennis, like I said, in some aspects though. But it's like the game set and then the match, like everything has different rules, like depending on which specific point of it you're talking about. So like that's what's confusing. Like I know that you have the advantage if it's tied like 40-40, and then again the other person gets the advantage, and then, you know, like, and so it could possibly keep going just back and forth, instead of, you know, like then the other person loses it, then the other person gets the advantage, and if they lose it, then the other person, you know, can like get the advantage possibly. So it can go like back and forth, but I don't know, it's just super confusing. And I guess too, like I said, when you're thinking about football, like not knowing it, like I know it, I'm like, that is kind of confusing, because it either has to be like a touchdown, 6 points, then you can go for an extra point, which is just 1, or else you can try for a 2-point conversion, which is then 2, or again you can get a field goal, which is technically an extra point, but could be from anywhere really on the field that you want to try and kick it from, which is also weird too, because we call it football and you only kick the ball once. There's only ever 1 point in the game when your foot touches the ball. Unless it's by accident and somebody's kicking it around, which is not, you know, and somebody has to actually land on the ball. Somebody has to touch the ball with their hands. It's not football. But anyways, no, I guess there's 2 points too when you're kicking off, or you're returning, or, you know, it's extra point or field goal. Like again, very few times is a football ever actually a football. But like I was saying, you know, like looking at it from like, again, like a European standpoint or something like that, football is a very bizarre sort of sport. Like, and also too, it's very like the scoring system on it is also very weird. But like I said, I find that tennis is a little like weird like that too. The whole just scoring matches, games, sets, all that kind of stuff is a little confusing. And like I said, I have a slight knowledge of it only because Matthew played volleyball, and again, some of the stuff is sort of similar to, like, they would play 3 games, or was it 3 sets? And then they win the game, something like that. It was similar to that too. I never was super keen on volleyball rules like I am on football. Like honestly, there's sometimes I hear people yelling in the stands, and they'll be like, you know, like yelling something, and I'm like, that's not the right rule. Like that's you guys don't know what you're talking about. And like also too, a lot of times people always think, especially in like youth football and like high school football, is because of the NFL, everybody thinks that if you get a pass interference that it's a spot foul, and it's not in high school. They think it's only 15 yards. And so normally youth football always followed high school rules as well, but like, you know, I said there's certain rules though where it's different. And then also too, the NFL and college is also different as to what is considered a catch. And whether or not you have 1 foot in or 2 feet in. Like NFL you have to have 2, in college you only have to have 1. So you know, and then there's the whole like, did he make a football play after he caught the ball, which I think is just super weird, and it's super like judgmental call. It's not like a, you know, like a hard fact rule, like something to you that looks like a football play could be completely like misconstrued to somebody else and completely look different as to what somebody else thinks. But again, Charlie's hiding under the blankets again. And Bravo's just staring at him. Like every once in a while the blankets move, and Bravo's like, I wonder if he like forgets that it's Charlie that's hiding under there, or if he's just concerned that he's hiding under the blankets. It's cracking me up though. Like I said, I don't know why this fly is bothering him so badly. But anyways, about the football thing, yes, I think that it is like, you know, scoring is like a weird sort of, you know, thing. But anyways, football game didn't turn out exactly how we wanted. Jack actually ended up starting though. He played a good portion most of the game. They took him out a couple times, I think more because he was tired, because again, defense was out on the field for so long, and Jack plays middle linebacker, so he's out there for a very long time. And he had a lot of a lot of tackles. Like he was like, I didn't feel like I had that good of a game, and I was like, honestly though, it was just like he did. I felt like, you know, there was a couple times, but he didn't have a lot of those really like big strong sort of tackles. Like it seemed a lot of times like it was like, you know, like assists and stuff like that, like, you know, he was tackling with somebody else, like a gang tackle or something. I think he was on kickoff return, punt, punt return and kickoffs, I think. I think he was actually on all special teams this week. But there was very few times, well, there was a lot of us punting the ball away. There was also a lot of us on receiving the ball on kickoffs. We were not on, I'm sorry, we were on kick return. We're not on kickoffs very much. I think in the second half because they deferred, I think. I don't know. Anyways, there's a couple times where we, like I said, special teams was not out on the field very often because we actually, well, we only scored the one touchdown, so we actually only kicked off just the one time and then at the start of the game. So, yeah, anyways, though, Jack was out there for, like I said, most of a good portion of that today, which was pretty cool. But he was like, I'm sore, I'm tired. Like, you know, he played a lot, and again, he thinks that he didn't do a lot, but I was like, when you're like more tired than when you were really from the other 2 games, it's because you played a lot, and also too, you had a lot of contact. So, you know, like, that's never not good. So anyways, I will see you guys all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye, guys.